If you've been in this game for a while, the biggest threat to your career is not a lack of clients or trends that just move on and fade away. It's actually your own body. We spend our lives hunched over in these very unnatural positions, putting an immense strain on our hands, our eyes, and our backs. But very few people ever talk about the athletics of tattooing. Today, I want to break down the biomechanics of the long session. When you're doing high detailed, large scale work, you're essentially an endurance athlete. If you haven't optimized your physical setup and your mental pacing, you're effectively putting an expiry date on your career. Let's talk about the anchor point. You see, most tattoo artists suffer from hand fatigue because they tend to choke the machine. They are essentially using their own grip force to stabilize the machine. But instead, you should actually be using your entire arm and your core to move, not just your fingers. I want to discuss the physics of the triple point contact. That is, your machine, your hand, and your posture. If these three are not aligned, you're essentially fighting the skin instead of working with it. I would like to explain to you how shifting your weight to your non dominant side actually releases the tension in your needle hand, allowing those long, fluid script lines to flow without any jitters that tend to come from muscle fatigue. Now, I'd also like to touch a little bit on vision management because eye strain is one of those silent killers to your precision. We focus so much on extremely intricate detail that for so long that we also even tend to forget to refocus our focal length. This might even lead to headaches and maybe a lack of detail perception going into the final hours of your session. I use the 20-20-20 rule. So for every 20 minutes, I look at something that's at least 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. I know it sounds simple, but it's been amazing for me in terms of like how it's been able to help me maintain my perception of detail over the longer sessions. This usually makes the difference between seeing if the ink saturation is actually solid as opposed to guessing simply because your eyes are tired and you don't even realize that you're guessing. And now I think we can even move on to talking a little bit about mental stamina. The wall usually hits around the 4 hour mark, at least in my own experience. This is kind of where your blood sugar drops and your decision making becomes a little bit slower. If you're hitting some sort of complex calligraphy or like some sort of a portrait, this is the most dangerous part or point to keep going without a plan. So, for that reason, I structure my sessions with logical checkpoints. So, instead of seeing the whole sleeve, I look at the next 90 minutes and then I use specific reset rituals, maybe changing the gloves, going to the bathroom, even though I don't need to use the bathroom just to get some fresh air, and maybe look at different things from different distances, and just a change of environment for a few minutes can do wonders to just reset your whole system. Swapping out the gloves, changing up the lighting, moving the camera if I'm recording myself while I'm tattooing, just to kind of trick my own brain into thinking we are starting the session afresh. This isn't just for your own comfort, but it's more to do with the consistency of what you're able to then produce. The quality of tattoo or tattooing that you're doing at hour 7 should be identical to the quality of tattooing you're doing in minute 1. If it isn't, you are not necessarily charging for your skill, but rather you're charging for your luck. So if you're a young artist, you probably need to hear this before the carpal tunnel and the back issues start. If you're a veteran, you might need to realize why your work might start stalling at the end of the day. It's usually not a lack of talent, but more a breakdown in physical discipline. We also have to look at the hardware to hand connection, the weight of your machine, and the vibration of your setup. I've transitioned to setups that have a lot less vibration over the years, obviously. The more you afford to get better machines and better equipment, the better you deal with all of these issues and the quality of your work also improves. Because over the years, those micro vibrations can actually lead to permanent nerve damage, according to some studies. You need to invest in yourself the same way that you invest in your pigments. Your body is the only machine in your shop that you can't replace or repair with a spare part. If that machine stops or breaks, then the art stops. Focus on the posture, protect the eyes, stay at the needle. My name is Washington, and I'll see you in the next one.